He said, "Taste this." And it wasn't the food. That man flipped me like a pancake and sautéed my soul. Hit the subscribe button, comment, and like this if you've ever got more than just a to-go box. It started with the aroma, not just food, him, spices in the air, garlic and thyme, something smoky and grounded, and something darker, like desire, cooked low and slow, filling every crevice of that cramped, sweltering kitchen. I wasn't supposed to be back there. I was just a new host, barely trained, barely confident, trying not to sweat through my shirt on my third shift. The dining room was packed, the waitstaff drowning, and someone told me to bring the kitchen the revised ticket. That's how I ended up behind the swinging door and under his gaze. He looked up from his station like he'd sensed me before I spoke. Chef Andre, mid-30s, tall, broad-shouldered, arms sleeved in ink that peeked out from the rolled cuffs of his chef's coat. He had sweat on his brow, a cleaver in one hand, and that kind of stillness that made everyone around him move faster, just to keep up with his intensity. "You lost?" he asked, not looking away. His voice was low, gruff, like gravel rubbed against velvet. "No, I lied," voice catching in my throat. He stepped closer, slowly. His eyes didn't just look at me, they read me, like I was already splayed open on his chopping board. He didn't move like other men. He moved like he knew the room belonged to him, and anyone in it, including me. Andre set down the cleaver, licked a bit of sauce from his thumb, and grabbed a small spoon. He dipped it into a simmering pan behind him, then held it out, eyes fixed on my mouth. "Then stop staring," he said, "and taste this." My lips parted automatically, even though I didn't know what I was about to swallow. But I was already hooked, not on the food, but the heat between us. The kind of heat that had nothing to do with the stove. The flavor exploded on my tongue. Rich, layered, confident. Like him. "Well," he asked. I tried to speak, but words failed me, so I just nodded. A smirk tugged at the corner of his mouth. "You've got hunger in you." I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what he meant. But deep down, I think I did. I'd been hungry before. For stability. For peace. For someone who saw me. But this was different. This wasn't hunger. This was craving. And I didn't know it yet, but I'd already been chosen. Not for my palate. For the hunger behind my eyes. For the way my knees went weak when he stepped too close. For the silence between us that said, "You don't know what's coming, but you'll beg for seconds." It happened on a Sunday night. The restaurant had just closed. Lights low. Chairs flipped. The last drunk couple stumbling out into the street. The kitchen was quiet for once. Just a soft hum of refrigeration units and a lingering scent of roasted lamb and rosemary. I was wiping menus when I heard his voice. "Hey!" Andre called from the back. "Help me clean." He didn't wait for a response. Just tossed a rag at me through the swinging door. I caught it midair and followed, heartbeat in my throat. Not because of the mop bucket, but because I felt it. That pull, that charge in the air like before a thunderstorm. The kitchen was dimly lit now. No clatter of pans, no shouting line cooks. Just him and me. He had taken off his chef's coat. Now it was just a black tank hugging muscle and sweat. Tattoos coiled around his arms like flames. The kind of body that doesn't ask permission. It just takes. We worked side by side, wiping counters in silence. But it wasn't really silent. There was the soft sound of his breathing. The subtle clink of his ring tapping the counter. The steady thud of my own pulse in my ears. Then his hand brushed mine. Not a mistake. Deliberate. I froze. He didn't. Andre set his rag down slowly. Then he turned, eyes locked on mine. That look. It could fillet a man open and leave him begging for more. "You want something more than tips, don't you?" he asked. His voice was low. Steady. Daring me to lie. My throat tightened. I should have walked out. Should have laughed it off. Should have remembered the rules about employees and chefs and power dynamics. But instead, I stepped closer. Yeah, I said, I want you to burn me right. His smile was slow, dangerous. Say that again. I want the flame. I whispered, not the food. He didn't ask again. In one motion, he grabbed my waist, spun me around, and pressed me against the cold metal counter. His breath was hot against my neck, his hands rough with calluses, trained for control, not gentleness. You sure? He murmured. His voice trembled slightly now, not from fear, from restraint. I nodded. He tasted me like a critic, kissed like he was reducing me down to what mattered. My moans echoed against steel and tile, his name bitten back behind gasps. And just like that, I was on the menu, served hot, devoured whole. No sides, no rules, no reservations. Training with him wasn't part of my job. But suddenly, I was spending late nights in the kitchen, not seating guests, but learning how to wield a knife without slicing more than vegetables, and how to taste without losing control. He stood behind me one night, shirt damp from heat and effort, his scent a mix of spice and sweat. I could feel the heat of the burners, but more than that, I felt him, his presence wrapped around me tighter than any apron. Show me how you hold a knife, Andre said. I lifted it. Wrong, apparently. He stepped in, close, pressed his chest against my back. His arms reached around mine, hands gripping my fingers, correcting the position like a slow dance choreographed in fire. Not like that, he murmured into my ear. You're tense. Of course I was. His breath hit the curve of my neck. The knife wasn't the danger. He was, but I didn't pull away. I leaned into the heat. He guided me. Slow strokes on the cutting board, his lips nearly brushing my cheek with each movement. Carrots, onions, garlic. We chopped them like foreplay, rhythm building between us. Then came the sauce. He stirred in a pan, glancing at me with that half-lidded look like he knew every thought I hadn't dared speak. Time to taste, he said. He didn't offer it. Not like a waiter. He hovered it there, inches away, eyes locked on mine. Go on, he said. I leaned forward, licked it slowly. Not just a taste, a surrender. His gaze darkened. He bit his lip. You're not just hungry, he whispered, voice rough like gravel dragged across velvet. You're starving. I couldn't deny it. I was, for the way he looked at me like I was the only dish worth serving, for the way he made hunger feel holy. I wanted him to devour me, mind, body, pride. And from the way he watched me, spoon still in hand, chest rising and falling like something wild caged in a man's body. He was starving too. Dipped a spoon in the thick, simmering liquid, raised it to my lips. The storm had rolled in like something cinematic. Thunder cracked the sky open, and rain lashed against the windows like fists demanding entry. Inside, the restaurant was hushed, emptied, just the sizzle of the fryer being cleaned, the hum of the overhead vent, and him, Andre. The last server had clocked out. The lights were dimmed, casting the kitchen in gold and ash, flickering over steel countertops and stacks of dishes still warm from a rush. I was alone by the spice rack, reaching for paprika or maybe cinnamon. I didn't even know anymore. I bent forward, fingertips brushing glass jars when I felt it. His hands, large, callous palms closed around my hips like they belonged there. You keep bending like that, he growled behind me, voice low, breath hot on my neck. Pretending you don't know what you're doing? I turned to speak, but I never got the words out. You'll end up my dinner. And then I was pinned, back against the prep counter, cold stainless steel against my spine, his heat everywhere else. His mouth crushed mine like hunger-made flesh, tongue urgent, hands greedy. It was messy, desperate, real. The kitchen turned into something sacred and savage, filled with the smell of garlic, spice, sweat, and us. I gasped against his mouth. He swallowed it whole. Buttons popped. An apron dropped. He lifted me like I weighed nothing. And in the middle of the storm, he devoured me, not gently, but completely. Like I was the secret ingredient he'd been missing his whole damn life. That night, he didn't cook. He consumed. And I let him, because I wasn't scared of the heat anymore. I wanted to burn. It became our ritual. Whispers by the dish pit. Brush fingers in the cold storage. Bodies press against shelves lined with produce. He'd steal kisses behind swinging doors, tasting me between table orders like a secret recipe he couldn't stop craving. But secrets, they spoil. I noticed it one Friday night. The place packed, music thumping through the walls, orders flying fast. I passed by the bar and saw them. Andre and her, the new bartender. She was pretty, that effortless kind of pretty, confident, curved like a wine bottle. He laughed. Not the smirk he gave customers, but that laugh. The one he gave me after we messed up the frosting recipe and ended up licking it off each other's skin. Then he touched her waist. His hand. That smile. The one I thought was mine. Something boiled over inside me, hotter than a deep fryer left too long. I cornered him in dry storage, heart pounding, hands shaking with more than adrenaline. You think I don't see it? I hissed. You think I'm just your little side dish while you flirt with whoever has a good rack and pours vodka? He didn't flinch. Just looked at me, all fire and stone. I'm not just another late-night craving. I snapped, voice cracking. His silence was a cleaver. Then, cold as the fridge we'd once kissed in, he said. Then stop acting like a snack. You want more? Say it. My lips parted, but pride choked the words back down. I turned, pushing past him. The kitchen was hot, the grill still on, but nothing burned like that. Not the sear of shame, not the ache of unspoken wants. Just me, walking out into the night with a hollow stomach and a scorched heart. Weeks passed. The clatter of pans. The hiss of oil. The kitchen kept breathing, but I didn't. We moved around each other like ghosts in a haunted galley. No more whispered recipes. No more stolen heat. Just the ache of everything unsaid. He barked orders. I obeyed. We were two chefs sharing a flame, but cooking separate meals. Still, every dish I sent out was a whisper. Every garnish a plea. Miss me. Taste me. Say it wasn't just appetite. Then one night, the rush had died. The restaurant gone still. I was restocking the pantry, arms full of saffron and regret. He came in. No apron. No shield. Just him. I miss your mouth, he said, voice rough, soft around the edges. For more than just tasting. I didn't turn at first. I couldn't. Then stop serving games. I said, silence. Then footsteps. Close. I've never done this before, he whispered. Love someone in my kitchen. That broke me open like an egg on hot cast iron. No garnish could hide it. No flame could sear it shut. I turned, chest rising like dough and proof. He looked afraid, not of me, but of what we were making. Us. Raw. Undone. Ready. I kissed him. Not out of lust. Not just hunger. But because I finally understood, we weren't just a fling cooked on high heat. We were a recipe. Slow, imperfect, but worth perfecting. The restaurant closed early. For us. No customers. No wait staff. Just candlelight bouncing off stainless steel, and something thick in the air. Something simmered long enough to be called love. He moved around the kitchen with a rhythm that was hypnotic. Apron tied low. Shirt gone. Tattoos glistening with sweat. Each movement a promise I've been waiting to unwrap. Sit. he said, nodding toward the counter. I did. Legs around his waist. Heart wide open. He cooked slow, careful. Garlic, wine, and butter kissed the pan, but it was the way he looked at me that melted everything. This dish, he murmured, feeding me from his fingers, is comfort, safety, and a little bit of sin. I licked the sauce from his skin. He licked it from my lips. I don't want you on the side, he said, voice trembling like he hadn't said it to anyone before. I want you as my main, my every night. My breath caught, not because I was surprised, but because I want to be chosen, for real. And now I was. I nodded. Then serve me forever. I whispered. He pulled me closer. Hunger and heat, yes, but deeper too. The kind of hunger that says, you're safe here. You're seen. And when he took me, right there on the counter where it all began, it wasn't just sex. It was a declaration. Of us. Of every bite, burn, and bruise that led to this final, perfect plate. He kissed me through it. Held me like I was the last recipe he'd ever learn. When we collapsed into each other, breathless and full, he whispered against my neck, "You're the best thing I've ever made." And I believe him, because in that heat-soaked kitchen, where I'd once felt lost and craving, I found a home. I became his appetite for seduction, served in ecstasy and pleasure. Bon appetit.